Most people think power looks loud. Raised voices, sharp words, quick reactions. They believe if they don't respond immediately, if they don't correct, defend, or assert themselves, they'll be ignored, disrespected, or walked over. Marcus Aurelius saw the opposite. He watched men in authority unravel themselves through impatience, ego, and constant reaction. He learned instead from quiet teachers, men who governed themselves before attempting to govern others. This episode isn't about being passive. It's about becoming unmovable. Because the person who controls their response controls the situation. And the one who needs the least attention often holds the most authority. Picture a normal weekday, messages stacking up, a family obligation pulling in one direction, work pressure pulling in another. Someone sends a text that's unnecessarily sharp. Another person is late again. A third deflects responsibility and subtly blames you. Nothing catastrophic, just constant friction. You feel the impulse rise. Correct them. Explain yourself. Point out what's wrong. You start drafting a response in your head. You rehearse what you'll say if they push back. You imagine how unfair it is that you're always the reasonable one, always the one expected to absorb the mess. You respond quickly, too quickly. Now the tone shifts. The situation escalates. Words pile on top of words. What could have stayed small becomes heavy, draining, and personal. By the end of the day, you're exhausted, not from effort, but from reaction. Here's the part most people miss. Nothing truly required that reaction. The original issue was manageable. The damage came from the loss of composure. This is the modern trap. We live in a world that rewards immediacy but punishes reflection. Every delay is treated as avoidance. Every pause is misread as weakness. So we react constantly. And in doing so, we surrender control. Marcus Aurelius lived surrounded by this pressure, political, familial, social. Yet the figures he admired most weren't dominant personalities. They were steady ones. People who corrected without humiliating, who stayed available without being consumed, who held affection without losing discipline. They didn't win arguments, they prevented them. In these passages, Marcus isn't listing virtues to admire from afar. He's documenting a pattern. From Sextus, he learned that seriousness doesn't require stiffness. Authority doesn't require coldness. A household or any group functions best when it's guided by firm affection rather than fear. This is important. Affection does not mean indulgence. It means stability. From Alexander the Grammarian, he learned how to correct without wounding. Not every mistake needs to be exposed publicly. Not every error requires direct confrontation. Sometimes the strongest correction is example, tone, or quiet redirection. This is emotional discipline, so you don't embarrass people to feel superior. You don't seize every opportunity to be right. From Fronto, Marcus saw how power attracts distortion, envy, flattery, manipulation. The higher you rise, the more unnatural behavior surrounds you. This is why inner regulation matters more than external position. If you don't govern yourself, power magnifies your worst traits. From Alexander the Platonic, he learned not to hide behind busyness. "I'm not at leisure" becomes a convenient excuse for neglect. Stoicism isn't about retreating from obligation, it's about honoring it without resentment. And from Catullus, Marcus learned something rare. Don't dismiss a friend's complaint, even when it's unfair. Why? Because relationship repair matters more than winning. Put together, these lessons form a single principle. Character is quiet consistency, not performance, not dominance, not explanation. Consistency. The Stoic doesn't rush to assert, he doesn't rush to withdraw. He stays centered, available, and measured. That's why calm becomes power. The following are some practical exercises to implement in your own life. Exercise 1. The delayed response rule. What it is? A deliberate pause before responding to emotional triggers. When to use it? Anytime you feel urgency mixed with irritation. Steps. Pause for one full breath before replying. Ask, does this require response or regulation? Respond only to what matters, not the tone. Common mistake, using silence as punishment instead of composure. Exercise 2. Correct without spotlight. What it is, redirecting errors without public exposure. When to use it? Work, family, or social corrections. Steps. Address behavior, not character. Use example instead of accusation. Let dignity remain intact. Common mistake, wanting credit for being right. Exercise 3. Affection with structure. What it is, maintaining warmth without surrendering boundaries. When to use it? Ongoing relationships with friction. Steps. Stay consistent in expectations. Remove emotional volatility from enforcement. Repeat calmly without escalation. Common mistake, thinking firmness requires harshness. Marcus Aurelius wasn't impressed by intensity. He was impressed by reliability. People who stayed calm when tested, who didn't weaponize intellect or emotion, who governed themselves first. That kind of discipline doesn't draw attention, but it builds trust. And trust becomes authority over time. Ask yourself one question today. Where am I reacting when I could be steady? Because calm is not weakness. It's trained restraint. And restraint is strength. Calm is power. Character is the only score. If this helped you slow down and regain control, like and subscribe for more episodes on ancient wisdom for modern chaos.